The airport smelled like rain and coffee. I stood by the gate, gripping her hand like it was the last solid thing in my life. 5 years, Lila said, brushing her hair behind her ear. It's not that long, right? I tried to smile. 5 years is forever when you love someone, she laughed softly. You always say dramatic things. Because I mean them, I said. You're leaving, and I don't even know what I'm supposed to do without you. You'll wait for me, she said, like it was the easiest thing in the world. You promised, I nodded. I did. And I will. She looked at the ring on her finger, the one I'd saved months to buy. You trust me, right? With everything I have, she bit her lip. Then promise you won't let anyone take my place. I couldn't if I tried. A pause. The boarding call echoed through the hall and her grip on my hand tightened. I'm scared, she whispered. Of what? That you'll change. I laughed, but it came out broken. I'm more scared you'll forget me. Her eyes shimmered. I could never forget you, Aiden. I believed her. Maybe that was my first mistake. She leaned in and kissed me, soft, trembling, full of promises. I'll come back, she said. I swear, I'll be waiting, I whispered. With flowers, she smiled at that. Always the romantic. Always yours, I said. When she turned toward the gate, my chest felt hollow. I watched her until she disappeared through the doors. For a second, I almost ran after her, but then I remembered her words, wait for me, and so I did. Later that evening, I sat on the couch, holding my phone like it might ring any moment. Mom peeked in from the kitchen. She's gone? I nodded. Mom sighed. 5 years, Aiden, that's a long time. I'll manage, I said. We love each other. Dad, reading the newspaper, didn't even look up. Love doesn't stop time, son. Maybe not, I said, but it gives you a reason to wait. Dad folded the paper. You're too young to waste your life waiting. Mom shot him a look. Let him believe what he wants. I smiled faintly. Thanks, Mom. She came over, put a hand on my shoulder. Just promise me you'll keep living while you wait. I will, I said. But even then, I wasn't sure if I meant it. That night, Ethan showed up uninvited like he always did. Dude, you look like someone stole your soul, he said. Dropping onto my couch. She's only been gone a few hours, I muttered. Yeah, and you're already depressing. He grabbed the remote. Come on, movie night. My treat. I'm not in the mood, he sighed. Aiden, it's 5 years. You sure about this waiting thing? She asked me to. People change, man. Not her, I said too quickly. Ethan stared at me for a moment. You sound like me in college, I frowned. What happened to her? She married someone else while I was saving for a ring. The silence between us felt heavy. I'm sorry, I said quietly. He shrugged. Don't be. It taught me that promises fade faster than people think. Well, Lila's not like that, I said, almost defensive. He gave me a small, pitying smile. I hope you're right. After he left, I went to my room and looked at the small photo of us on my desk. It was taken at the lake where I proposed. Her hair was messy from the wind, her eyes full of light. I touched the frame. You'll come back, I whispered. You promised. Outside, rain started tapping the window. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, replaying every word she said at the airport. I'll come back. I swear. Wait for me. The words echoed until sleep finally took me. In my dream, she was still there, standing by the gate, waving, smiling. But when I ran toward her, she was gone again, swallowed by the crowd. I woke up before dawn, heart pounding. The ring I wore around my neck caught the first light of morning. I pressed it in my fist. 5 years, I said to myself. I'll wait. And for the first time, I realized how long forever could feel. The first letter came a week after she left. Dear Aiden, it began. I miss you already. London is beautiful, cold, and huge. Classes are harder than I thought, but I'm doing fine. Don't worry about me. Love, Lila. I read it 3 times before I smiled. I could almost hear her voice through the paper. Ethan dropped by that evening, eyeing the letter on my desk. So your long-distance romance is alive and breathing? Stronger than ever, I said. She wrote that she misses me, he smirked. She probably misses your cooking more. Maybe both, I said, laughing. She'll be back before we know it. 5 years isn't before we know it, man. That's 60 months of missing someone, I shrugged. She's worth it, he sighed. Just don't build your world around someone who's not here. But I already had. The second letter came a month later, filled with excitement. Met a new friend here, Amelia. She's funny and keeps me sane. You'd like her. I told her about you. I wrote back instantly. I'm glad you're settling in. Don't forget to eat properly. And tell Amelia I said thanks for keeping you company. Her next reply came with a small photo. Lila and Amelia standing in front of a red phone booth, both smiling. Lila looked happy, different somehow. Mom noticed the photo on the table. She looks older, she said softly. She's growing, I replied. Mom nodded but didn't say what I knew she was thinking. By the third month, the letters came slower. Calls replaced them, and every Sunday became my favorite day. Hey, I'd say, grinning into the phone. Hey, she'd answer, her voice slightly distant. Sorry, bad connection. How's school? Exhausting. Amelia and I pulled an all-nighter again. You'd be proud. I always am. You sound tired, she'd tease. Just busy. Work, family, you know. I miss you, she'd whisper, and my whole world would feel right again. But sometimes there was noise behind her voice. Music, laughter, people. Where are you? I'd ask. Just a cafe with Amelia, she'd say quickly. I'll call you tomorrow. Tomorrow often turned into next week. Ethan came over one night while I was writing another letter. Still at it? He asked, glancing at the growing stack of envelopes tied with a red ribbon. They keep me connected, I said. Or trapped, he muttered. I looked up. What's that supposed to mean? He sighed. You talk to her more on paper than in real life. You don't even go out anymore. I'm fine, he sat across from me. You're waiting for someone who's building a life somewhere else. I clenched my pen. She loves me. I'm not saying she doesn't. I'm saying love changes when distance gets involved. She wouldn't do that. Ethan leaned back. Then I hope I'm wrong. Months passed. Her messages turned shorter. Busy week, we'll write soon. Sorry, exam stress. Don't worry about me, I kept writing anyway. One night Mom asked, when was her last letter? 3 weeks ago, I said. She used to write every week. She's busy, I said quickly. She'll write, Mom hesitated. I just don't want you waiting for ghosts. She's not a ghost, I snapped, then immediately felt guilty. Sorry, I know she'll come back, Mom sighed. I hope so, dear. It was her birthday when I realized something had changed. I sent her a package, a scarf, her favorite chocolate, and a handwritten note. Weeks passed. No reply, no thank you. Not even a text. I sat by the window, the phone beside me. Rain fell softly against the glass. Ethan called. Still nothing? No, I said. But she'll reach out. He paused. And if she doesn't?
She will, I whispered. But when I hung up...
The silence in the room was louder than the rain. I stared at the red ribbon tied around the letters, each one carrying a piece of me across the ocean. Somewhere between her words and my waiting, I felt it, the quiet space where love begins to fade, and I was too scared to admit it. It started with silence. Not the peaceful kind, the kind that eats you from the inside out. I sent her an email one morning. Hey, it's been a while. Hope you're okay. Miss you. Days passed. No reply, then I tried again. Just checking in. Are you busy? I saw something today that reminded me of you. Still nothing. A week later, I sent another. Happy birthday, Lila. I hope you're smiling somewhere. That one bounced back. I stared at the screen until my vision blurred. Ethan called that night. Still waiting? He asked. She's just busy, I said. Maybe exams. For 6 months? It happens, he sighed. Aiden, you've sent her 50 emails. She hasn't answered one. She will. Man, you sound like someone in denial. Maybe I am, I muttered. But what if she needs me to hold on? What if she doesn't want you to? The question hit like a slap. You don't know her. No, he said quietly. But I know you. You're drowning in someone else's silence. I went to the cafe where we had our first date. The owner still remembered me. You alone again? She asked gently. Yeah, I said. Just coffee. I sat by the window. Same spot, same view. I used to picture her walking through that door, smiling, waving. Now the seat across from me stayed empty. My phone buzzed. I grabbed it fast. Unknown number calling. Hello? Static. Then a click. I stayed on the line for a full minute, whispering, Lila, is that you? Nothing. Mom came into my room later that night. You're up late again. I'm just checking my emails, she frowned. You've been checking them every night for months. She'll write. Mom sat beside me. Honey, it's been 2 years. Maybe she moved on. I clenched my jaw. No, she wouldn't leave without a word. She already did. The words stung. She promised me. Mom's voice softened. People break promises. It doesn't mean you have to break yourself too. I looked at her, eyes burning. You don't understand, she smiled sadly. I do. That's why I'm scared for you. I called her university the next day. Hi, I'm trying to reach a student, Lila Raymond. A pause on the other end. I'm sorry, there's no one by that name currently enrolled. She graduated? I asked quickly. I can't share that information, sir. Can you just tell me if she's okay? I'm sorry, the voice repeated. The line went dead. I sat there staring at the phone, my hands shaking. That evening, Ethan found me sitting outside the cafe again. He didn't say anything at first, just sat beside me. You know, he finally said, this isn't healthy. I know. Then why are you still here? Because this is where she said she loved me, I said quietly. Right there by that window. He followed my gaze. And what good does remembering do? It keeps her real, he sighed. She's not here, Aiden. I know. You're breaking yourself. I looked down at the table, tracing the old scratches on its surface. Maybe love's supposed to hurt. No, he said firmly. Love's supposed to heal. This, he gestured at me, this is just pain. I smiled faintly. She'll come home. Ethan leaned back, shaking his head. You really believe that? I have to, I whispered. Because if I stop believing, then she's really gone. He didn't argue after that. We just sat there, silent, watching the world move while I stayed still. That night, I walked home alone. The streets were empty, the city lights blurred by drizzle. When I reached my door, I looked up at the sky. Are you looking at the same moon? I whispered. No answer came, only the sound of rain. I unlocked the door, went inside, and sat by my desk. The folder of her letters still sat there, neat, perfect, untouched. I ran my hand over it, my voice cracking as I said, You'll come home. You have to. But even as I said it, I felt the truth creeping in like a shadow. She already hadn't. 5 years. That's how long I waited. 5 winters, 5 birthdays, 5 times I told myself maybe this year. When the message came, I'm back in town. Let's meet. I couldn't breathe. I stood at the airport with a bouquet of white lilies. Her favorite. My fingers trembled around the stems. Still the romantic. Ethan muttered beside me. You sure about this? I just need to see her, I said. And if she's not the same? She will be, he sighed. All right. I'll wait outside. The arrival gate opened and faces blurred past. Then I saw her. Lila. She looked almost the same eyes, same smile, but something was different. The kind of difference life leaves behind. I took a step forward, my heart hammering. Lila! She turned. For a second, her eyes widened, then softened into something polite, distant. Aiden, she said quietly. Her voice hit me harder than I expected, but before I could speak, I noticed the man beside her. He was tall, calm-looking, holding her hand like he'd done it 1,000 times. And next to them, a little girl clung to Lila's dress. My chest tightened. Is that... I started. Lila swallowed. This is Noah, she said. My husband. The word echoed in my head. Husband. Noah smiled and held out a hand. Hey, you must be Aiden, Lila's... Old friend? Friend. The word almost made me laugh. Yeah, I said, forcing a smile. Something like that. The little girl peeked from behind Lila's leg. Mommy, who's he? I felt my breath catch. Mommy, Lila crouched beside her. Just an old friend, sweetheart. The child nodded, then hid her face again. Noah glanced between us. We should get going, love. Long flight. Right, Lila said, her voice barely above a whisper. I stared at her, hoping she'd look at me, really look at me, but she didn't. I brought these, I said, holding out the flowers. Her eyes flickered to them, then away. You remembered. Of course. She hesitated, then took them. They're beautiful. They're for you, I said. They always were, her smile faltered. Aiden. Noah checked his watch. We should go before traffic gets bad. Lila nodded quickly. Yes, of course. I wanted to say 1,000 things. Ask her why, ask her how, but all that came out was, so you're happy? She blinked. I am. The truth cut deeper than any lie could. I'm glad, I said, though my throat burned. She shifted the flowers in her arms. Thank you, really. Noah reached for her suitcase. It was nice meeting you, man. Yeah, I managed. You too. Lila looked at me one last time, her lips parting like she wanted to say something. But she didn't. She turned away, walking beside him, hand in hand, their daughter between them. I stood there frozen as the world moved around me. Ethan came up behind me. She's gone? Yeah. He looked at the flowers scattered on the floor. You dropped them. I stared down. The petals had broken, white against the gray tiles. Guess I did. Ethan crouched, picking up a few stems. You okay? I laughed softly. What do you think? He said nothing. I waited for her, I whispered. 5 years, Ethan, I counted every day. I thought love meant holding on. And now? Now I don't know what it means. He placed a hand on my shoulder. Maybe it means letting go. I shook my head. Not yet. That night, I sat in my car outside her old house. The lights were on. Through the window, I saw shadows moving. Her, Noah, the little girl. Laughter floated faintly through the air. She was home. Just not with me. My phone buzzed. Ethan again. You should come home, man. I'm fine. No, you're not. Let me have this moment, I said quietly. Just a little longer, he sighed. You're torturing yourself. Maybe, I said. But after 5 years of silence, this is the closest I've been to hearing her again. He didn't answer. I watched her silhouette for a long time until the lights went out. Then I started the car and drove away, the scent of crushed lilies still clinging to my hands. That was the night I finally understood. She never planned to return to me. When she texted me, I stared at the screen for almost an hour. Dinner, just to talk. 2 words stood out. Talk and just. Ethan saw the message. You're not seriously going, right? She wants to talk. She already did. At the airport. With her husband. She owes me an explanation. He shook his head. You're walking into a fire and calling it light. Maybe I need to burn, I said quietly. The restaurant was the same one where we celebrated our engagement. I almost turned back when I saw her sitting there, same corner, same nervous smile. Aiden, she said, standing up. You came. I said I would, I replied, pulling out the chair across from her. You look... Good, so do you, I lied. She laughed softly. You always were bad at lying. Guess I learned from the best, I said, half smiling. Her face fell for a second before she forced another smile. You're still sharp. 5 years of silence will do that to a man, she sighed. I didn't want to hurt you. You didn't want to face me, I said. That's not fair. It's the truth. She looked down at her hands. I was young, scared. Life just moved differently than I planned. Life? I repeated. Or you? She glanced up. Both. The waiter came and placed 2 glasses of wine. She thanked him, trying to act calm. I thought we could just talk, she said. I've been talking to ghosts for 5 years. Lila, I think I earned a few questions. Ask, she said quietly. Why didn't you tell me? She hesitated. About Noah? About everything. Her eyes darted away. I didn't know how. Email works, I said. Letters, calls, anything. I tried, she whispered. But every message I started sounded wrong. You were waiting for the person I used to be. I wasn't her anymore. Then who were you? Someone trying to survive, she said. I met Noah when I was lost. He helped me. Things happened fast. So love just happens now? She frowned. Don't make it sound cheap. I'm not. I'm just trying to understand how someone who swore she'd come back forgot to even say goodbye. She bit her lip. You wouldn't have let me go. You didn't even give me the chance. Her voice broke. You think it was easy for me? I don't care if it was easy. I care that you left me holding promises that meant nothing. We sat there in silence. The sound of forks and quiet laughter from other tables filled the space between us. Finally, she whispered, I'm sorry. For what? I asked, for not being who you needed. That's not an apology. That's an escape. She looked up, eyes glistening. What do you want from me, Aiden? The truth. I already told you. No, I said, leaning forward. You told me the clean version. I want the real one, she swallowed hard. Fine, I fell in love with someone else. I moved on. I built a life. And I didn't want you to hate me for it. I don't hate you, I said. I just wish I'd known you sooner, the real you. Lila looked away. Noah treats me well. We have a daughter. I can't regret that. I'm not asking you to, I said, but I needed to know if any of what we had was real. She froze. Aiden, did you ever love me? I asked. Her lips parted, but no sound came out. That silence was louder than any answer. I pushed back my chair. That's all I needed. She stood quickly. Please don't walk away like this. I've been standing still for 5 years, Lila. It's about time I walk. She reached for my hand. Aiden, wait. I pulled free. Goodbye. As I stepped outside, the rain started. Cold, sharp, relentless. Ethan's voice echoed in my head. You're walking into a fire. He was right. But this time I wasn't burning. I was walking through the ashes. I looked up at the sky and whispered, You can keep your sorry. The rain answered for her, washing away everything I once believed in. I didn't sleep for 3 nights. Every sound, every streetlight, every cafe window carried her shadow. Ethan showed up on the 4th night, holding a bag of takeout. You look like hell. Thanks, I muttered. I feel worse. He glanced around the room, letters scattered across the floor, photos on the table. You kept all this? They're hers. They're poison, he said flatly. They're memories, he sighed. Same thing if you hold on too long. I picked up one letter, the first she ever sent from London. Her handwriting looked softer than I remembered. She used to draw little hearts at the end, I said quietly. Ethan sat down beside me. Aiden, listen. You don't need to do this to yourself. I just want to understand how love turns into silence. You won't find that answer in paper. Then where? Inside you, he said. You already know what you need to do. That night, I stared at the letters again. There were 23 in total, tied with the same red ribbon. My hands shook as I untied it. I whispered, You lied to me. And the words sounded too calm. I took one letter to the balcony, lit a match, and watched the edge catch fire. The paper curled, blackened, then vanished into ash. Ethan's voice came from behind me. You sure about this? No, I said. But I have to. He stayed silent while I burned the next one and the next, until the air smelled like smoke and endings. She promised she'd come back, I said. And I believed her. Because you loved her, he said. No, I said, staring into the flames. Because I needed her to love me back. Ethan exhaled. That's the hardest part, realizing love doesn't owe you anything. I dropped another letter into the fire. You ever think about what could have been? All the time, he said softly. But it's not what is. I crouched down, feeding the last few pages into the metal bin. You think I'll forget her someday? You won't, he said. But you'll stop hurting. I don't know how. You start by letting her die where she belongs, in your past. I stared at the last envelope, still sealed. This one was never opened. What's inside? I don't know. She sent it a few months before she stopped writing. Then open it, Ethan said. I tore it open slowly. Inside was a single line. Don't wait too long for me, I laughed. It came out hollow. Guess she meant it. Ethan put a hand on my shoulder. You can stop now. I nodded and dropped the letter into the flames. The fire hissed, the words curling into smoke. She's gone, I whispered. Really gone? Yeah, Ethan said. And now you can be too. The last flame died. The balcony felt cold, the night quiet. For a long time, neither of us spoke. Then Ethan said, You okay? I don't know, I answered. But it feels empty. Empty can be good. It means there's room for something new. I leaned against the railing, watching the ashes drift into the wind. It hurts, I said. It's supposed to. That's how you know it's real. The city below looked peaceful, like nothing had happened. But inside me, something had changed, something cracked but cleaner. I think I'm done waiting, I said. Ethan smiled faintly. About time. I looked at the small pile of ashes. That was love once. And now? He asked. Now it's just dust. He stood beside me, silent. I watched the smoke fade into the dark sky and whispered, I won't let anyone own me like that again. Ethan nodded. Good. That's the first honest thing you've said in months. I managed a small smile. Guess it's a start. The fire was out, but the air still smelled like her, like endings and freedom. For the first time in years, I didn't feel like I was waiting. I just felt alive. Ethan used to say, the best revenge is rebuilding yourself so well they don't recognize you. I finally understood what he meant. We opened a small design firm 6 months after the fire. I poured every bit of my pain into the work. Long nights, bad coffee, endless deadlines, it didn't matter. Every success felt like a small piece of my soul returning. You're actually smiling, Ethan said one morning, sliding a cup of coffee my way. Don't get used to it, I said. He grinned. Too late. You're becoming human again. Maybe, I said. Or maybe I'm just tired of bleeding. That's progress, it was. Business grew faster than I expected. Clients respected me, employees trusted me, and for the first time, my life didn't revolve around someone who wasn't there. One evening, as I locked up the office, Ethan asked, Ever think about her anymore? Not the way I used to. You sure? Yeah, she's just part of a story I already finished, he smirked. You sound like you actually believe that. I do, he nodded. Then you're free, man. Months later, fate decided to test me. I saw her again. Lila. It was at a charity gala downtown. She stood near the entrance, thinner, tired, like the sparkle in her eyes had burned out. Her husband wasn't there. People whispered as she passed. I caught bits of it. Divorce, custody, affair rumors. Ethan noticed me staring. Don't, he warned. I'm not going to, I said. It's just strange. She's not your responsibility anymore. I know. He studied me. So what do you feel? I thought for a moment. Nothing. Just calm, he smiled faintly. Karma's doing its job, huh? Guess it didn't need my help. Later that week, I found her waiting outside my office. Aiden, she said, her voice trembling. I froze. How did you... I saw your company online. I needed to talk, I sighed. About what, please? Just 5 minutes, I hesitated, then nodded. Fine. We sat in the cafe across the street. She looked at the steam rising from her cup instead of me. I didn't know where else to go, she said. You could have gone anywhere, I replied. I know, but I wanted to see you, so why? She swallowed. Because everything's falling apart. I leaned back. You have a husband. A family. Not anymore, she whispered. Noah left. He took Mia with him. He said he couldn't trust me. I said nothing. She looked up, eyes red. Do you hate me, Aiden? I shook my head. No, she blinked, surprised. You don't? No, I said softly. I just stopped loving you. Her lip trembled. That's worse. Maybe, I said. But it's honest. She reached for my hand, then stopped halfway. You were the only one who ever really saw me. I did, I said. And you taught me not to lose myself doing it. Tears filled her eyes. I'm sorry. I know. You won't forgive me, will you? I already did, I said. That's why I can sit here and feel nothing. She let out a shaky breath. You've changed. Yeah, I said. You broke me enough times that I finally built something stronger. She wiped her eyes, forcing a smile. I'm glad you're happy. I am, I said. And I hope you find peace, Lila. Really. She nodded, then stood. Goodbye, Aiden. Goodbye. I watched her walk out into the streetlight. The wind caught her hair, but she didn't look back. Ethan called as I returned to the office. You okay? Yeah, I said.
She came by, I figured. What do you always say?
The best revenge is rebuilding yourself. He laughed. And you did. Yeah, I said quietly, looking out at the city. I finally did. The night felt calm. No fire, no ghosts, just peace. It had been months since I'd seen her. The air felt lighter, quieter. My days were full, my nights finally calm. Then one morning, I opened my mailbox and froze. A letter. No name on the front, but I knew that handwriting. I held it for a while before opening it. Dear Aiden, I'm leaving town for good. I don't know if I deserve to say goodbye, but I couldn't leave without writing this. I regret everything. I should have stayed. I should have kept my promise. I stopped reading. My throat tightened, but the pain didn't sting like before. Ethan walked in as I sat at my desk, the letter in my hand. You look like you've seen a ghost. Not a ghost, I said. Just the past, he frowned. What's that? A letter from her, he whistled. She still finds ways to haunt you, huh? She says she's leaving town. For real this time? Seems like it. He leaned against the wall. You gonna read it? I already did, and? She regrets everything, Ethan sighed. That's her pattern. Too late and too sorry. Yeah. I folded the paper carefully. But this time I don't feel anything. He looked surprised. Nothing at all? No anger, no sadness, just stillness, he smiled. Then you're finally free. That evening I drove to the river. It was the same one near the park where she used to drag me for long walks. I parked by the railing and stood there holding the letter. Ethan joined me after a few minutes. You sure about this? I'm done holding on to ghosts, I said. He nodded. Then do it. The water shimmered under the sunset. I unfolded the paper one last time. You were the best thing that ever happened to me, Aiden. I hope one day you'll forgive me enough to remember me kindly. I read it aloud, my voice low. She still wants forgiveness, Ethan asked quietly. Do you want to give it? I already did, I said. She just doesn't know it. I held the letter over the river. The wind tugged at it gently, as if asking me to let go. Goodbye, Lila, I whispered. I released it. The paper floated for a moment, then sank slowly into the current. The ripples spread, soft and final. Ethan exhaled beside me. You sure you're okay? I'm better than okay, he studied me. You really mean that? Yeah. I watched the last bit of paper disappear beneath the water. It's over, he smiled faintly. No, man. It's just the beginning, I laughed quietly. You always know what to say, don't you? Someone has to balance out your drama, I nudged him. Shut up. See? You're already back to normal. I looked out over the river again. The sky was a mix of orange and gold, the kind of light that makes everything look softer. It's strange, I said. I thought letting go would hurt, and it doesn't? No, I said. It feels like breathing after being underwater too long. Ethan smiled. That's healing, my friend, I nodded. I don't think I ever wanted revenge. I just wanted peace. And you got it? I did. We stood there in silence, the sound of water filling the space between us. After a while, I said, You think she'll find happiness? He shrugged. Maybe, but that's not your story anymore. Right, I said softly. It's not. The wind shifted, carrying the scent of rain and the faint hum of traffic behind us. I felt lighter, almost new. Ethan stretched. Come on, dinner's on me. You've earned it, I smiled. You're paying? Must be a special night, he laughed. It is. It's the night you finally let go. As we walked back to the car, I looked over my shoulder one last time. The river kept moving, carrying her words somewhere far away. I didn't need to chase them anymore. For the first time in years, I felt free. Time has a strange way of healing you when you stop fighting it. Months turned into a year. Work kept me busy. Travel filled the empty spaces. I met new people. Clients, friends, faces that didn't know the man I used to be. Ethan said once, You finally laugh without flinching. Guess I ran out of reasons not to, I told him. He grinned. About damn time. One evening, we sat at the cafe near the river, the same one where I used to wait for her. Ethan raised his cup. To surviving heartbreak and somehow still functioning humans, I chuckled. You make it sound like a medical condition. It was, he said. You were terminal for a while. Harsh. True, I smirked. Maybe I needed to fall apart to figure out what I'm made of. He nodded. And what's the verdict? I'm made of mistakes, I said, but I'm learning to forgive them. He leaned back. You're turning philosophical on me. Don't worry, I said. It's temporary, he laughed, then glanced toward the old street corner. You still think about her when you come here? Sometimes, I admitted. But not the way I used to. How's that? It's like remembering an old song, I said. You still know the words, but the meaning's gone, Ethan smiled. That's healing. Yeah, I said. It is. A week later, during a business trip, I met someone named Claire. She was direct, confident, the kind of person who looked you in the eye and made silence feel comfortable. We ended up talking for hours in the hotel lobby. She asked, "So, are you seeing anyone?" I laughed. Not exactly. Not exactly? She repeated. I'm between stories, I said. She smiled. Then maybe this is a prologue. Her words stuck with me long after she left. When I got back home, Ethan noticed the change instantly. You're smiling again, he said. Dangerous. Maybe I just had a good trip. Uh-huh, he said suspiciously. Name? Claire, tell me everything. I laughed. We just talked. Talking leads to emotional chaos. Be careful. She's different, I said. He raised an eyebrow. You said that about Lila. Yeah, and look how that turned out. He grinned. So what's different this time? I'm different, I said. That changes everything. He studied me for a moment, then nodded. You've grown, man. Took you long enough. Guess pain's a good teacher. The best kind, he said. Later that night, I walked by the old cafe again. It was quiet, the sign glowing faintly against the dark. I stood outside for a minute, watching people inside, laughing, talking, living. Once, that place felt haunted. Now it just felt like another corner of the city. I sat at a table outside, ordered coffee, and watched the rain start to fall. For a moment, I imagined her sitting across from me again, smiling like she used to. But instead of pain, there was only warmth, like remembering someone who once mattered. Ethan's voice from earlier replayed in my head. You've grown. He was right. I finished my coffee, paid the bill, and started walking home. The rain didn't bother me. It felt clean, almost new. Halfway down the street, my phone buzzed. A text from Claire, made it home safe. Let's talk soon, I smiled. Yeah, I typed back. Let's. For the first time in years, I didn't feel like I was leaving something behind. I felt like I was walking towards something. The city lights reflected on the wet pavement. I could hear faint laughter from a group nearby, the kind that reminded me that life goes on, no matter how much you think it won't. I took a deep breath. Love, I realized, doesn't always mean forever. It just teaches you how to begin again. And maybe, just maybe, I finally had. The morning was quiet, the kind of calm that feels like the world is holding its breath. I parked by the old airport entrance, the place where everything began. The sky was pale gold, and the air smelled like rain and memory. In my hands was a small bouquet of white lilies. Not for her this time, for me. Ethan had asked earlier, You sure you want to go back there? Yeah, I said. It feels right, he frowned. You think it'll change anything? No, I said. That's the point. When I stepped onto the pavement, I could almost see it again. Her face, her suitcase, her promise. Wait for me, I whispered. I did. A security guard walked by and gave me a curious look. You waiting for someone? No, I said, smiling faintly. Just saying goodbye. He nodded and moved on. I stood there a while, just breathing. The silence wasn't heavy anymore, it was peaceful. Ethan's car pulled up behind me. He got out, holding 2 coffees. Didn't think you'd actually come alone. I wasn't alone, I said. Just remembering, he handed me a cup. So, how's the view from the past? Different, I said. Smaller, he smiled. That's called growth, my friend, I laughed. You sound like a therapist. I've been your unpaid one for years, he said. Might as well own it. We stood side by side, sipping quietly. The world felt still, almost gentle. After a while, Ethan asked, You still think about her? Sometimes, I said, but not with pain anymore. What's left then? Gratitude, I said. She broke me, but she also made space for who I am now. He nodded slowly. So this is closure? No, I said. This is peace. He looked at the lilies in my hand. You gonna leave those here? Yeah. Want me to wait? I shook my head. I think I need a minute. He stepped back toward the car. Take your time. I walked to the same spot near the glass doors where I'd once stood trembling, clutching flowers meant for someone who never came back. Now I placed the lilies on the ground, simple, clean, new. I whispered, "Thank you." It wasn't bitter. It wasn't sad. It was honest. Thank you for teaching me how to live again. The words felt light, like they belonged to the wind. For a long time, I just stood there. The sun climbed higher, turning the glass panels gold. I could hear Ethan in the distance calling, "You done saying poetic things yet?" "Almost," I called back. He laughed. "I'll start the car." When I turned away, I caught my reflection in the window. For a moment, I saw the boy I used to be, the one who waited with too much hope. But behind him, I saw the man who'd finally learned to let go. Ethan leaned out of the car window. "So, any last words?" "Yeah," I said, sliding into the passenger seat. "I think I'm done chasing ghosts." "About time," he said. "What now?" "Now?" I smiled. "Now I live," he grinned. "You sound like someone who's figured it out." "Not figured out," I said. "Just free." As we drove off, I looked one last time at the terminal disappearing behind us. There was no ache, no longing, just quiet gratitude. Ethan glanced over. "You look peaceful." "I am." "Feels weird, huh? No pain to hold on to?" "Feels like breathing," I said. "Like I finally have room for tomorrow." He raised his coffee cup. "To tomorrow, then." I clinked mine against his. "To peace after chaos." The road stretched ahead, bright, endless, full of promise. And for the first time, I didn't look back.